All right, so um, today we will be creating our own Docker image using our own web application so that we can upload it to Docker Hub and other people can pull the image and use it if they want to. All right, the first thing you want to do is to ensure that you have your Docker on. So that's my Docker desktop. Put it on, and when you do that, without doing this, it will not your Docker won't run. So now we'll go Docker PS just to be sure it runs. Okay, now with this line tells us Docker works. Now let me clear it. The next thing you want to do is to pull Docker pull HTTPD. HTTPD is a web server. We'll put in a particular version of it because that's how Docker works. You want to have a specific version so that when HTTPD is upgraded, it doesn't break your application because you picked a particular version of HTTPD. Yeah, so we've pulled HTTPD. Now the next thing is to run a new container, and we'll call it counter. The reason we are calling it counter is because the application we'll be deploying is a counter application. So let's go with docker run dash name counter. Let's detached HTTPD 2.4. So that's a container we're about to run. Here we have our container running. If we check Docker PS, that's our container ID. Now this is a HTTPD container. What we want to do is to customize this container and make it ours, right? In order to do that, we have to execute an interactive shell session inside this container, and you do that by saying docker exec for execute, it for interactive. That's the container called counter, and we are using our bash. Good. We are inside a container, and the first thing you want to do is to update and install Git. So apt update and apt install Git. Let's clear. Let's check the contents. What do we have here? We have a lot of things, but what is important to us is this htdocs. We want to, because that is where the web server, which is HTTPD, serves its content. So if we go to ls-l htdocs to see what is there, we have the index.html file, right, that it renders when it serves its content. What we want to do, we want to delete that file and put our own files there by cloning a GitHub repository. So remove what do we want to remove now? htdocs index. So when you do that, if we ls again, we still have our htdocs, but when we do this, index.html is no longer a content in the htdocs folder. We can literally do that by going to cd htdocs. We are now there. If you do your ls, it's not there, right? So let's clear. We've removed that document. Now what we want to do is to clone our Git repository. So git clone. Now it is cloning. As soon as it clones, we have our application here. If you do ls, that's our counter app, right? So let's exit. So Docker PS, we still have our container running, but now this container contains our counter app. What you want to do now is to create a new image from this counter app. You want to create a new image from this counter app, and the command for that is docker commit. You take this number here, container ID, you place it over there, and what do you want to call it? Counter img, counter image, but let's give it a version 1. Is that okay? My commit is supposed to be a double M. Repository name must be lowercase, so they want me to make it C. What mistake am I making? Oh, the img. Alright, good. It must be all lowercase. I think that's the mistake I was making before. Now we've created our own image. If we go to Docker PS, we still have the old image over there. But hold on, let's hold on. Okay, this is the container. Docker PS shows you the running containers. To check the images, you go to Docker images. Now here we have our own image version 1, and then we have the old image HTTPD. So that is that. Another thing you should notice is that our image is very large, 335 megabytes, while the original image is 195. It is so let's try to reduce that size, and some of the things we can do, let's get into the, what's it called again, that container, the counter container we used in building our image. There are some things we can do to reduce the size of our image before we build it, and one of those things is to remove the Git application that you installed, because that has its own size in the image. So apt remove Git, yeah. Which other thing do we want to do? And apt auto remove, there should be a space, -y, and apt clean. So this will remove all the cached data we have there. We have to exit. I think that's why I couldn't get the code. Alright, this is it. So this time we'll make it version 2. If I go to Docker images, now I have my version 1 and version 2. As you can see, version 2 is smaller than version 1, right? I removed about 100 megabytes of size, and yeah, so that's that. So now we have our own image. Now that we have our own image, what is the next thing? What do we want to do. Now the next thing I'll do is to run my counter image. So docker run, I'll run it in a detached mode. What name should I call it? What name should I call my image? Counter. Let me call it counter one. Right? And then what port will I release? 8080. Right? Then what's the name of my image again? Counter image. Counter dash img version what 2, isn't it? So let me run that. Hopefully it runs. All right, so let's find our website. Go to localhost 8080. That's our counter app running. The good thing about having your image is that you can actually run it multiple times. Right, let's go to 8081. Let's call this counter app 2. Let's go make it 8082. Counter app 3. So come back to our website, turn 8080 to 8081. It will still work because these are multiple containers running now. So let's come here, paste 8082 will still work. Come here, paste 8080 will still work. So we created our own image, or we customize an original image, HTTPD image. We used it to create our own image, and then we deployed our image on several containers. We can deploy hundreds of containers, and they will all display our web app. So that's how you create your own image from an existing image and make it easy to deploy your website. Now what you can do is to upload this image of yours to Docker Hub so that whenever you want to run it, it's just a click of a button and it's immediately deployed. And yeah, see you later. Please subscribe.